Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Trade You for the Fruit Punch. I'm your host, Guy, and with me, as always, is the effervescent Ari Abramovitz.
That's what we're going with.
That's what we're going with today. Effervescent, pleasant, lovely.
Yeah,
So,
that's me.
random thoughts. Last Wednesday, hung out with you and your friends at a bar that shall remain nameless. We will not say where. Did not buy any
hmm
beverages of any kind.
I bought a
We
Diet Coke. I don't know what you're talking about.
did buy Diet Coke. That's very true. We watched game 2 of the Celtics Sixers series, a blowout Celtics victory, and I left after the third quarter because I had to drive home. And there was no way we were making up a 30-point deficit.
And we didn't.
And
We
that
actually
game-
got Furkan Korkmaz minutes.
Oh, it was Jaden Springer minutes. What are you talking about?
That's
That he's
true.
even further down. Would it be farther or further?
No,
'Cause
he
it's
isn't.
a distance.
No, but
Springer?
it's further because it's like farther is actual distance, further
Actual.
metaphorical.
Well, technically, is Jaden farther down the line on the bench as well?
No, Jaden Springer is higher in the depth chart than Furkan.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not. He's the last man on that bench.
He literally is not.
Wade Dedman may be the last man. But
Jaden Springer gets minutes before Furkan does.
I don't think so. I don't think that's true.
Go watch
I think it's a
the
rounding error
second to
for both.
last game of the season.
No, I know they gave him a lot of minutes, but I do think like if Doc is pressed into playing one of those, he'd play.
I think it'll be Jaden. Jaden Springer's a better defender, and Jaden Springer is probably a better shot creator for himself.
Furk's a better shooter though. Way better.
Yeah, but like if there isn't a playmaker on the court with him, like Furkan's kind of useless.
He's kind of useless regardless. But anyway, all right, let's move on. Not important. So it was a blowout. I drove home. And game 3, not a blowout, but we never really had a shot. Anyway, we'll get into it. But that was game 2. We'll talk about those things. I was in College Park watching the game with Ari, and he finally introduced me to a handful of his friends.
I did.
He did. He finally caved in. And what did they?
This is
So
accurate.
they said that I should expect for them to bring it, and they were pretty tame.
My
So if
friends,
they're
my
listening-
friends were texting me. They were so excited to, and I quote, bicker with Ari's dad. I was.
Did you let them know? Did you tell them you were disappointed in them?
I did.
Okay. So does that mean the next time around they'll be a little bit more ornery? Or does that really just mean...
What they said was like, it's difficult to start an argument with a friend's parent without something being brought up first. They were like, if he'd brought something up, we would have gone after it. But like the conversation just never steered that way.
So they put it on me. They blamed me.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. Are they... So they're probably listening because they probably only last about 10 minutes into any episode anyway. Well, so...
Maybe Sam. Maybe Sam's listening.
Maybe Sam. So I'm going to address this to Sam. Sam, I like you. I'm disappointed in you.
Well, Sam wasn't the one who said he wanted to argue with you anyway. So
yeah, well, then how am I disappointed in him? I'm not disappointed in him. Who wanted to argue? Which one of these clowns wanted to argue with the Mets? Which one of them?
Nick, the Knicks fan.
Nick, the Knicks fan. Got it. Yeah, he didn't bring it. He was just, conversing. All right, I will make a point of him next time I see him, just a little bit. Once they lose to like the Jimmy Butler Heat, maybe I'll say something. But
Yeah. How do you figure you'll do that?
I don't know. I have a long memory. Next time I see him, I'll bring it up. It may very well be in October.
Next year?
Parents weekend.
Parents weekend in October, you're going to bring up a series loss to the Miami Heat.
I will.
I just want to make sure that we're understanding each other here.
Yes, because
that's your plan.
NBA will be sort of in motion.
Oh,
we'll
so you're going to like. I know you're excited for the new season. Hey, remember when you lost to the only Jimmy Butler Heat?
And do you think like this year's Knicks will be better than last year's Knicks, or you think they'll bottle the second round against a team that essentially has one player and a bunch of G League guys?
I would say maybe let's wait to see how our series goes, because this feels very throwing stones from a glass house.
Well, so, this is a good segue into, we're here to talk Sixers. We'll talk a little Tottenham, right? But not a lot. The Palace game was a little boring. So Sixers-wise, we've gone through now 4 games.
4 games.
4 games. We had the Harden Masterclass game 1, the disappearing act of James Harden games 2 and 3, and Joel's return game 2. And then we had a Harden Masterclass game 4 with a Joel Embiid that was straight. So do we want to go through every game? Do you want to get my thoughts on how do you want to approach this? I'm going to leave it up to you. How would you like us to discuss?
Let's games 2 and 3.
You're studying
games 2 and 3 were kind of. Let's go macro. Let's go macro with, but like
process
micro
almost
on game
died
4.
Yesterday. The process almost died.
Micro game 4. Enough with the process almost died.
It did.
Enough with your bullshit. My God, the process was a failure. You were constantly crying about the process.
Well, that's macro.
I meant macro from the series perspective.
Okay.
Like
so
overall,
tell me about
James Harden has had this kind of series. I didn't mean the process almost died. My God.
That's true. Okay, so what do you think of James Harden? Very broad
James
question.
Harden has had 2 all-time performances and 2 Ben Simmons performances. Game 3 especially. He did this. He passed up the open layup.
He did that a little last night, too. They were talking about that. But he made up for it, right? He scored 42. But near the end of the game, he was passing up layups.
About it one time. At one time, I actually thought he made the right read.
They did mention it like 2 or 3 times. It wasn't just the one. And I actually didn't have a problem with him because, so from a macro perspective, in all these games, the rim protection of the Celtics has been really good, I think. And what I mean by that is when Harden goes up for a layup, when Maxey goes up for the layup, they're all contested, and they're getting blocked. And so Harden going up for a layup where it wasn't a clear layup and passing out to the 3, I wasn't upset about that.
So I think he'd been getting past guys. So like from that perspective, maybe, but they're right in front of him. Like he should make the pass. But like Maxey, at some point he's got to learn that he can't keep throwing up these little floater layups to Robert Williams, who's gonna block it every time and has blocked it basically.
So it's not just about that. It's about the fact that the Celtics, they're quick and they're young. generally speaking, right? Besides Al Horford.
Yeah, exactly.
Besides Al Horford.
The oldest man on the planet.
So what they're able to do is they're compact, but they're also able to then recover to the shooter. By being compact, though, when Maxey goes up for a layup on one side and then reverses it to the other side, there's help defense blocking his shot a lot of times. And so he has to go up stronger, and I think he has to go up on the side that he's going up on. He can't do the reverse thing that he likes to do a lot. And he hasn't learned. We're 4 games in.
He hasn't learned is the biggest problem. And he's been jacking up shots that he didn't take like at any point during the regular season. It's like he feels like he has something to make up for it. So he's taking like deep threes with no chance of going in, just like praying.
I also think he's taking deep twos, and he's never taken deep twos. And maybe it's only a handful, maybe it's only 2, but I've noticed like he's taking these 18, 21 footers. Like those are the worst shots in basketball. And so his game is threes and layups and those floaters. And those floaters to me are kind of like layups, right? I mean, it's just and so that's his game. And he's altered his game to contested threes and long twos. And like, he's not effective.
He should go to the floater game a little bit more, in all honesty.
He should.
I haven't really seen him do it, but like that's a way to get around getting your shot blocked constantly. If you've got a little space, up a little bit earlier than they expect you to.
So Maxey's been poor, and I hope he picks it up and he does something. And keep in mind, like, we are at 2-2, and by all accounts, like,
should have lost the series.
We should have lost the series. Yes, correct. And we did everything we possibly could in game 4 to lose that game. Like, we figured out a way to forget how to play offense in the fourth quarter. But we've eked out 2, and we're in this series. And if we could just string together 2 decent games, we can win this series. Because I don't think the Celtics are all that good. I still don't think they're all that good. So, all right. So we're talking macro. We talked about Maxey. We talked about Harden. Let's talk about PJ Tucker. What do we think of PJ?
Hang on. We talked about 2 of the stars, and your immediate thought wasn't, let's go Joel Embiid. Your thought was, let's go PJ Tucker.
We're saving Joel.
We're going to go PJ Tucker.
We're going to go Tobias. Probably going to go the bench. And then we're going to finish it off.
Then we're going to go Joel, so that you can go on a rant and be an asshole.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think I'm being very practical. Playoff Joel is mediocre at best. But anyhow.
Oh, my Lord.
What do you think of PJ?
I mean, Doc has been pulling him a little bit. Like, he passes up those threes because he's got the slowest release of all time. And Doc pulls him and says, you've got to shoot. Doc is doing to PJ is doing to everyone else, which is like getting in his face and telling him you have to take those fucking shots. That is your job here. Stand in the corner on offense and take corner threes.
So he took them in the first half. I mean, he took like 3 of them, right? He stopped taking them in the second half. And again, I think that hurt us. I don't know. How did this guy, like when he played for Milwaukee, when he played for Miami, like he made those threes, and now it's as though he's forgotten how to shoot.
It's the Sixers. Don't get me wrong,
it's
always been the Sixers. Every time shooter, suddenly they forget how to shoot.
But JJ Redick did not forget how to shoot and had his best seasons here.
There are 2 guys, and those guys are JJ Redick and Seth Curry. That's literally it.
Seth Curry was his best self as a Sixer. I really do believe that. He was not even close to the player he was in Philly before that. And ever since he got to Brooklyn, he has moments, but he's not the same guy. Like Seth Curry was the best Seth Curry in Philly.
Bring him back.
I would bring him back. Problem is he couldn't play any defense in the playoffs. Same as JJ.
Neither can George Niang.
George was shuffling his feet, though. George was moving those feet yesterday.
George got 5 fouls and stayed in. Like, he's had some good moments, but, like, I think he got 3 fouls in, like, a minute yesterday in the fourth quarter.
He did. He got a lot. But I got to tell you, like, he moved the feet quicker than he's ever moved those feet yesterday.
He's gotten his hands in there sometimes. I will give him that.
Okay, so PJ, I will tell you, I love what PJ is bringing us.
I don't know, because his defense hasn't been that great, and his offense has been relatively non-existent. Like, he really has just yelled at guys, and it's working. Like, it got Joel in the right mindset. It got Paul Reed in the right mindset for game 1. But, like, PJ himself isn't doing shit.
I think
PJ could do that from the bench.
No, it's different. It's different. And that, by the way, that and one was
that and one was so funny.
I mean, everything about it was like slow motion and shouldn't have happened, and it just kind of fell in his lap. But you know what? He converted, and we needed those 3 points.
We did.
So what I'll tell you, like, Melton will show flashes, right? Like, even game 4, second half of the Brooklyn series, Melton was great. But he's not consistent enough for me. Like, I don't know which Melton I'm going to get. Which half, which game. I just don't feel like he's all there. And by the way, his defense, not as great as advertised. Not as great as the regular season defense.
He's getting put up against either the best or second best player on the team, which I think is part of it. And, like, we just don't have a good matchup for really Tatum or Brown. But, yeah. And, I mean, he poked the ball out a few times yesterday. One specifically that I remember where he absolutely blew the fast break.
He did blow the fast break.
That guy should never be allowed to dribble.
Well, why? Look, I don't know about you, right? If I were 6'3", and I could
dunk the fucking basketball,
I would dunk
I've been
the
saying
basketball
this all year. You're the one who disagreed with me. I said everyone should stop going up soft and just fucking flush the ball. And you were like, well, in some cases, no. There is never a case where you should not dunk the basketball because it is a guarantee. Yes, the layup is like 95% to go in. The dunk is 99.
So what's interesting today, by the way, is I hear you, but like your video is off. So if anybody's watching this, for whatever reason, Ari still lives in a prison and his fucking internet sucks. And it hasn't changed. And hopefully that will change next year when he's in a different dorm and has his own room and maybe has better internet. But for right now, we have to live through the bullshit that is the University of Maryland's Wi-Fi system. But anyway.
Which will be exactly the same next year, but, you know.
Maybe. But so what I'll tell you is I may have said that I don't think people need to dunk all the time, but that one play
has convinced you?
It may have convinced me. Because, like, what are you doing?
Just fucking
flush it. Just fucking flush it. Just dunk the fucking thing.
There you go.
I think I may have been just that one play. Changed my whole perspective on the dunk. Now, if you can barely dunk and it's a stretch for you to dunk, I don't want you fucking up the dunk. But if you can dunk, Melton can dunk. 6'3", he's got hops, he can dunk. Just fucking dunk the goddamn ball. It's very disappointed in him. So, but I don't love Niang hit 3 threes, I think, last night. Which is probably 3 more than
his fourth quarter was atrocious.
Everyone's fourth quarter was atrocious.
Forget that. George specifically was atrocious in the fourth quarter. I don't know what the fuck he was doing.
They were all bad.
And
They
Doc
forgot how to
didn't
play
pull
basketball.
him like it's obviously it's partially Niang's fault for being possibly the worst defender for his size per capita. He is the worst defender in the league. But Doc, like, he gets to 5 fouls, and Doc's like, yeah, stay out there.
Well, I mean, but at that
like,
point,
if he fouls out, it's whatever. I get that.
right?
But for the love of God, he's gotten 3 of those in the last 2 minutes. Take the guy out. He's like gonna get them in the bonus immediately.
By the way, they were in the bonus within what, like 14 seconds of the fourth quarter. Those fucking
Because
referees.
of Niang. The referees
but the referees also, like, you let things go for 3 quarters, and then you start calling that ticky-tack shit in the fourth quarter.
Well, they only let things go for the Celtics. Let's be honest here. The referees in this series have been only calling things one way the whole fucking time.
I have a real problem, by the way.
And one for Joel, which was ruled as a fucking charge, which was bullshit. And then the push-off from Tatum, like, those are game-altering moments. The referees did everything in their power to lose us this game, and so did we. But the standard of refereeing in the NBA is the worst in every league in the entire world across every sport. Every single
MLS
one of them
refereeing is
should be
horrible, by the
fired.
way. We know that.
No. Every single NBA referee should and is worse than the MLS referee.
So I don't agree, but we can move on. What I don't like, and I think the league has to crack down on this. So the Celtics are notorious for not giving the offensive man space.
Yep.
They essentially are right on you. And as an offensive player, you have no room to move. You have no room to make a basketball move. And it's not Joel's fault that 6'4" Marcus Smart is D'ing him up. And when he moves his elbow, it hits him in the face. When Marcus Smart is sticking his face in and giving Joel absolutely no room to move. There are a lot of
sticking
things
their legs under the shots every time, too. In fact, the NBA referee official Twitter account, like, does a play-by-play of every foul call, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And, like, multiple times during the game, they're like, yeah, this should have been ruled a foul. The defender gets his leg underneath Harden. And then at the end of the no, official NBA referee account.
Someone stole that password.
No, they did not.
I'm telling.
And then at the end of the game, he did something along the lines of every refereeing crew can't get every call correctly. We're the standard of refereeing in this game.
Well, they have to say that. You know that, right?
Obvious, but like I'd rather you nothing at all because that's complete and utter bullshit.
So the Celtics understand the rules better than any team in the NBA and understand how to manipulate the rules. Because I really do feel on Joel, and frankly, they're doing things that Joel doesn't have any space with which to move his body. Like, how is he supposed to turn if there's a guy right on him and right in his face? And
he tried to. What he did, and they called the foul, is he shifted to the left and accidentally hit Marcus Smart. And of course, even though Marcus Smart moves into the elbow, they deem it a charge.
Well, if you notice, by the way, not only does he move to his right a little bit, but he also moves his body forward to ensure that as Joel's going by him, he's going to hit him. And again, they're doing what they need to do to win. I get it. I hate it. But I don't like the way
referees are the most gullible and awful standard of refereeing in the entire world. Every single one should be fired.
Okay, well, that's
referees in general are the worst human beings on as like a group.
As a group.
Yep.
Okay. Are you good? Can we move on?
I'm still mad, but let's go.
Well, I'm mad. Here's what I'm mad about. Forget everything else. Fine. You call the Marcus Smart Joel one offensive. You have to call the Tatum one offensive. Because it wasn't just this.
It is the
was
most blatant
once you extend the
extension.
arm, it's done.
It is the
Once
most
you extend
blatant
the arm,
extension of
it
an
is
arm I've ever seen.
And he extended the arm. So he didn't. So what I'll say is, right, I've seen people extend all the way. He didn't go all the way. He went like 97% of the way on the extension. So they gave him the benefit
And then
of the
pulled it back.
doubt,
Yeah.
right? It was like a 3% doubt. So we talked Niang a little bit. We talked Melton. Let's talk about Joel.
We haven't. I thought you
What do
wanted to
you
go
think of Joel?
Tobias first.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Let's do Tobias.
Second round Tobias in full effect. That guy is just running around.
So Tobias this year had a good year because he understood his role. It's very important for anyone who is not one of the top two players on a team to understand their role. He understood his role as a guy who needs to play defense, who every once in a while can cut from the dunker spot and needs to be able to shoot the three quickly. And he did that well, let's say 60 out of 80 games. And there were 20 where he had brain farts and brain freezes and decided to play the way he did.
There were 20 where he said, it's Toby time.
And he's not that kind of a player either. And he's played Toby time this series. Like, stop dribbling the fucking ball. Stop putting it on the floor. Stop hitting the back fucking rim on your shots from 8 feet away. Like, your game is 3 feet in and 24 feet out. Fuck this, 10-footer shit. Every once in a while, he does have a good game, right? So game 4, Brooklyn Tobias, where he posted guys up.
It's always first round, he's great. Second round, we face a real opponent, and
keep in mind, game 4 of the Brooklyn series, Tobias was old Toby.
But he was allowed to be.
He had to be. He was allowed to be because Joel wasn't there.
When Joel is there, he needs to be a role player. He needs to be a 3-and-D player.
And he hasn't done that this series. And so, so now we're through. Now we can talk about Joel. I'm going to let you start.
And you're not going to like what I have to say because you're an asshole who just watches and says, you owe things he doesn't do well. That's always been the case. He could have a game and you would still point out the one thing he did wrong. Game 2 was we're up when we shouldn't be, get your legs back under you. We'd rather you get the ramp up game when we're up rather than tied. And you understand that. And
I'm okay with that. Yes, he got
Game 3, he was the only guy who showed up. Literally the only one.
Fair.
And last game, he had a great first half. He looked aggressive. I've never seen him fight for boards or set screens the way he did in the first half. Fourth quarter, he heard of Al Horford. Really scared. Then PJ yelled at him, and I thought overtime. So, yes, fourth quarter could have led to a loss and was really bad. The whole team was really bad except for Harden. But overall, he had 4 periods where he was really good, which constitutes a whole game.
I think you're exaggerating. Constitutes a whole game. Look, the fourth quarter, they were all terrible. They were all. But Joel was a whole nother level terrible. I mean, it was insane how bad he was. And the fact that he made 74-year-old Al Horford look like a defensive juggernaut? What the fuck?
Well, so the
Thank
problem,
God.
Al Horford has always gotten in his head. That's the whole thing, is like, as soon as Horford blocks that first shot, Joel gets in his own head and is like, is this the Al Horford that I know from 4 years ago who used to do this to me all the time? And this won't show up on the box score. That's where PJ came in and was like, stop fucking overthinking this. You're 7'2". Go at that old fucking.
So one of my work buddies was texting me during the game. And he said, do you and your son text during the game? And I said, ever since the pod, like, no, because we kind of want to keep it to the pod. But I did text my son, I fucking hate Al Horford with every fiber in my being.
No, you
I
just said I
absolutely
fucking hate Al Horford.
Yeah, I added the other
I
part.
tweeted everything I am, everything I was, and everything I will ever be despises Al Horford.
The reason I hate him so much, it's really simple.
He didn't do it for us.
Him a full. What's that?
Yes.
He didn't do it for us.
I remember exactly where we were when that contract was announced. Do you? No.
We were at a movie.
We were at a Bayern Juve preseason game. It was raining cats and dogs. This was when I was first really getting into basketball. And I remember the contract was announced. I told you, you said, I actually like that. He stops Joel every time. And I remember saying, he's old as shit, and I don't like long contracts on big money for an old player.
And we were both right because he continues to stop Joel.
No, but you liked the contract, so you were wrong.
No, look, it was 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, 80 million, 20 a year, which in today's NBA is not crazy. Like, would you take Tobias on 4 years, 80 million? Sure.
No.
In a heartbeat.
No, yeah, I wouldn't.
Well,
because I'd rather have I'd rather spend that 20 million on someone else is the thing.
Right, but good thing Tobias is on like close to 40, so it doesn't really matter.
40 million a year.
Yeah. So I didn't mind it, but the fact that he didn't perform for us is what drives me crazy. Because every time he hits he shot like 20 fucking % from 3 when he was a Sixer. I'm gonna go back.
Are you looking up the exact percentage of what he shot? I bet it won't be as bad as we remember, but it felt like percentage of 15. Like every single shot he missed, you could fit. What do you got?
I'm looking it up. 16 seasons. Let's see. Stats. All stats.
You could have done this way more efficiently. This is a poor showing.
Yeah, I'm not very good at this. I got to tell you.
I think, hang on. Let's see if I can find it before you.
Oh, here we go.
Looking it up right.
I got it. So, in the one full year that he was a Sixer, he averaged 11.9 points, which was the lowest point output in his career since his second year in Atlanta. And he shot 35% from 3, which was lower than the 3 prior years he had shot for Boston.
35? It was that high?
I'm surprised by that as well.
I thought,
now, if we look at,
I told you it wouldn't be as bad as we thought, but I still thought it was going to come back as 27.
That's the number I had in my head too. I thought it was going to be 27. Shot 35%. I think the problem is he took more of them for us than he had previously in his career. And so there were a lot more misses, right? He took 4.2, made 1.5 out of 4.2. So he missed obviously 2.7. So we would see him miss 3 of them a game, and it would piss us off.
Oh my God.
He was so frustrating.
He was so
11.9.
dog shit. Forget
Yeah,
frustrating.
so do
Tobias
you know
Harris is frustrating. Al Horford
what his
was dog
3-point
shit.
percentage is this year, by the way?
35.
44.6.
Are you
No, 44.6.
on
Now
what?
here's
Like
another
1.5 per game?
on 5.2 per game.
You're kidding.
No.
So
Apparently
he
he's turned into
literally
an
he just
elite
didn't want to
3-point.
play for us.
He's
He
the
didn't want to play
Richard
for
Jefferson of
us.
3-point shooting. A guy who did not know how to shoot early in his career. Now, if you look at the playoffs, the year he played for us,
He shot like 17% from the field that series. He was the worst player I've ever seen.
he averaged 7 points a game. And he shot 48% from the field.
That's
And
shocking.
he went essentially 0 for 4 from 3. Because it's showing 3 points attempt, 1 per game, which 4 games, 4 attempts.
4 games.
So he went 0 for 4 from 3. In 32 fucking minutes, he scored 7 points a game for us. I mean, that's PJ Tucker like.
That's prime Ben Simmons numbers.
Those are I don't want to talk about him anymore. He disgusts me. I fucking hate him, and I don't want to talk about him anymore. So now predictions. Do we have a chance at winning this series?
No, that's why I don't like this. Because, like, if we'd won and it had been like the 9 to 12 point win that it should have been and was for most of the game, I would have told you, like, maybe. Maybe they've figured out how to play James and Joel as a duo again. Maybe they history back. But after the way that they won, where Marcus Smart literally hit a game winner and game winner in the fourth quarter, but it just happened to be a brick and after the shot or after the clock had expired. Like, they suck. They're terrible. This series is all but over.
So what's interesting is PJ Tucker, the year Milwaukee won it. You want to take a guess at how many points he averaged per game in the playoffs?
3.
4.3. How many points is he now averaging for us?
2.7.
4. 3-point shooting percentage, 32.2 for Milwaukee, 33.3 for us. He's the same
PJ
player.
Tucker is one of those players where, like, you hear about him on other teams and you're like, that guy's a great role player. And then he gets here and you watch him for, 80, 90 games. And you're like, this guy, I get the dog thing, but, like, this guy is awful. Like, as a basketball player, he's just not very good anymore.
I'm starting to think. I mean, he was great for Milwaukee. He was actually for Miami last year. He averaged 8 points in the playoffs.
He killed us in game 6, didn't he?
45.1% from 3 in 18 games for Miami last year.
I think he killed us in the closeout game.
Let's see.
You've gotten bogged down in the stat. This is not a good watch.
Let's click on the link. The closeout game, he had 10 points. I don't know how, like,
game.
He went 2 for 4 from 3, and in game 5 he went 2 for 3 from 3. Here's Is this one of those guys who in like 20 years people are going to call him a Hall of Famer, but right now we're actually witnessing that he's kind of a role player and doesn't do anything?
No one is ever going to say PJ Tucker should be a Hall of Actually, NBA Hall of Fame is the
20 years from
easiest
now,
thing I've
PJ
ever
Tucker.
seen to get into.
He and Marcus Smart will both be inducted into the Hall of Fame together.
Marcus
as
Smart, like
defensive specialists.
3-time Hustle Award winner.
The fuck
I
is a
forgot that
Hustle?
was even a thing. I don't know. It's fucking stupid.
Is that a real award? Is that like
Yeah.
one of the big 7 awards?
It exists.
What is that bullshit?
Are you going to look it up again? Can we stop with the looking up? This is a horrible
No, I'm done.
podcast
I'm done.
episode with you just looking
I'm
things
done.
up.
This is a stats episode.
You've never
What's
looked at
that one
stats before
stat,
in your
like-
life.
What's it like, the rocker stat or whatever that is? That stupid one number that people give to basketball players?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
All right, so Sixers, you think we're going to lose? We're going to lose in 6 games or 7?
6.
6. I'm going to continue to say that I think we win this series. Because the day
And you're going to
this
hedge
series,
it by saying Celtics in 6?
No. What I'm going to say, though, is the day we lose this series is the day the process died.
Oh my God, you've said 4 fucking years. Either say the process is already dead or stop talking about the process. I'm sick of hearing you bitch and moan about the process. The process is dying. The process
Can I
is
ask
a
you a question?
failure. The process
Side
is
note.
dead.
Side note. I got a car parked in my driveway. It's my car.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate
Are we
for
having
a
another?
gentleman to walk down the street? He's on his walk, older gentleman, to then walk onto my driveway, up my driveway, and look at my car. Is that an appropriate thing to do?
In the suburbs, probably.
No. Not even close. Like, are you fucking seeing? Like, he was literally. Now, another question. I have this little, like, flower bed. Not flowers, right? They're bushes and whatever. But it's clearly marked off with mulch.
Mm-hmm.
Is it appropriate for the UPS guy to just say fuck it and walk through there? Or should he take the detour literally 5 feet from where the mulch is and just walk on the grass? Do me a favor. Walk on the grass. Get the
Do
fuck
me a
off my-
favor.
Do me a
Do
favor.
me a favor.
What do you think?
I think we should talk about Tottenham instead of
Tottenham.
this
So we're
stupidity.
going to open up the door, by the way, because it's getting hot in here. All the hot air that's being spewed out by you about the Sixers and us losing. And the process already died. Tottenham.
I didn't say that. I said either you should say that or stop bitching and moaning about the process. Those are your options.
As a fan, I'm allowed to do both. So you're saying Celtics in 6. I'm saying Sixers in 7. And that's not. And I'm hedging with Celtics in 6, which I did before.
Okay.
Didn't I hedge?
God damn it.
Do you know there was one individual who didn't even put Jokic as a top 5 in the MVP voting?
Yeah, that's my fucking goat. I'd like to invite him for dinner one week. One day this summer.
If you can find out who it is,
I'd like to have him over. If you can find out
what it is, ask him if he likes a Jewish brisket, and I would be happy to make him a Jewish brisket.
All right.
Even though I think he's a joke. He's a clown.
No, he's not. Top 5. That would be me.
That's why you don't get a vote. Ever.
When I have my vote, it's just going to be.
I'm going to be really honest with you. The second the NBA or whomever decides on this is thinking that they should give you a vote, I'm actually going to reach out to whomever is in charge and say, this is a gentleman who has agendas and will take out his agendas on your voting and will render his vote essentially a joke. And you should not.
So does JJ Redick.
JJ Redick doesn't have a vote, does he?
Yeah, he does. You
I
don't
don't think
remember
so.
his? Yeah, he does. You don't remember his "My MVP vote is for Giannis" segment?
Oh. He has a vote?
Yep.
There should be like you should like an experience
You
kicker.
should have to prove you're nuts to get a vote.
No, well, there's plenty of jackasses. Like half of them are jackasses. Let's be honest, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm to prove you're not one.
No, you kind of need the
And JJ
jackasses.
would not pass that fucking test.
No, I think you've got to be in the media at least like 5 years before you get your voting credentials. You can't just get them like 2 years in. I feel like you got to put in a little bit more time and do a few more than like 7 games a season because he doesn't want to be away from his family. To do like 20. It's kind of like the MVP voting. 65 games now in order to be eligible to get MVP. Same principle. You got to put in your time. JJ hasn't put in
I don't
the
agree
time.
with that. I think that's stupid. But anyway,
Tottenham. What do we think of Ryan Mason as the full-time coach starting next season?
I've been saying it for months now. I'd love it.
Is he your top choice?
At this point, probably. I don't love the list. The list of names that they've put out has done nothing but disappoint me. And
Well, the list
when
is the same
Nagelsmann
list
was
as Finn.
first, but it never included Gallardo, who is always the guy I wanted the most. Maybe I get it. He doesn't want to leave. But, like, those were the two guys who drop everything and get them. Nagelsmann, I really liked a few years. And I kind of convinced myself that I could get back into it when he was first fired. The more I think about it, the more I just don't read. And beyond them, Ryan Mason was the next on my list.
What do you think of who is it? Xabi Alonso?
He's
on the
good.
list.
He's a good manager, but
How about
I would.
Vincent Company?
He just signed a new 5-year deal
I
with
know, but
Burnley.
before he signed it,
I
what
would
do
have
you think
taken him. No,
You would have
those
taken.
guys are guys I like. They are, but they were
The
behind
problem I have
Mason
with
on the list for
Mason.
me.
So I will tell you the problem I have with Mason, and I like him a lot. And I thought the tactics against Palace were really good. I thought bringing Emerson back into the back three and then sort of using Paro as a winger, not a wing back in certain situations was actually a really good one.
Yep.
The problem I have is you're not going to rebuild if he's your manager. They're going to take the same players and they're going to run it back.
It's exactly why you'd rebuild.
No, I don't think you rebuild with him, though.
You're not
telling
rebuilding with Nagelsmann. You're rebuilding with Mason.
I actually don't think that would happen. I think Mason's knowledge and understanding of these players, how he's gotten these players to play, would just be another run it. Let's run it back one more time. Ryan's the right guy, right? It's the same. Poch was the right guy. No, wait. Mourinho's the right. No, wait. Nuno.
I don't think
he
there
was
is any
definitely the right guy.
possibility. I don't think there's any possibility that they fully run it back with these players. You just can't do it.
And I would tell you,
I think
with
Levy
Ryan
has
Mason,
seen the pressure on him, and there is no chance that he will allow this group of players to continue.
the question is the pressure to win immediately greater than the pressure everyone's putting on Levy to rebuild? Because everybody wants a rebuild, but do they really want to rebuild? Like you do.
The pressure to win immediately is probably harder than the pressure to rebuild. But you are the director and the owner or the president or whatever the fuck your title is of this club. You make the decision, don't get peer pressured into like stupid shit again, might I add, by these stupid fucking fans who, as soon as things go poorly, are going to call for your head, and as soon as things go well, are going to say you're the best owner in sports. These fans are the worst in the league. They don't know what they want. They shouldn't be allowed to have a say in what the club does, yet they think that they do. This team, like, needs to just build for 3 years.
So one of the things you said, which I agree with, you and I don't necessarily agree all that much, but I think Tottenham fans think they should have more of a say than they should, right? So
There isn't a single
fans
other team in the
believe
league that I've seen like this either, by the way.
the fan trust constantly like questioning what everyone's doing. Like, I get that you pay £2,000 for your season ticket. Fine. Like, you pay your way to have a voice in the stadium. But you don't have the right to tell Levy, frankly, who owns the team, how to run his team. I mean, do they have the right to come to my house and tell me how I should, like, what color paint I should use on the outside of my house? I don't live in a co-op. I live in a home, a single family home. And fuck you if you have any opinions on how I should have my house, what color I should have my house. And fuck you if you think my driveway is a mess or whatever it might be. I don't understand how these fans think that they have a right to tell Levy how to run his fucking team.
And
It's
listen,
his
I
fucking
think Levy
money.
deserves criticism. Absolutely. It's not his money, by the way. It's Joe Lewis's money.
I mean, it's
But
some of his money, though.
like, Levy deserves criticism, but it's never for the things that they actually criticize him for. Levy deserves criticism for his managerial appointments, his scouting team appointments, his director of football appointment in Paratici. Like, his club staffing has been atrocious the last few years. Going from Jose to Nuno to Conte to Stellini is like the worst decision making I've ever seen in about a 3-year span. Hiring Paratici when he doesn't fit the club's vision, some of the worst decision making I've seen. The scouting team is consistently atrocious. He deserves that. But this stupid, like, don't fire Conte, just back the manager shit that I saw all over my timeline was stupid because Conte got a ton of money. Levy pays for players. This narrative that he doesn't is stupid.
Right.
It's just he pays for the wrong players.
And I agree. I think we've invested enough money into this team. We should be better. And so we've bought the wrong players. I mean, look, he has not made I would tell you, besides Martin Yole, who predates you, I would say Harry Redknapp and Poch. Those are the only 3 really good appointments he has made. As the CEO of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Those are the only 3. I'm looking at the list, right? I mean,
the list is
terrifying. It doesn't even matter. Martin Yole was a very good appointment. I know, again, it predates you. Poch was a good appointment. Harry Redknapp was a great appointment.
Villas-Boas at the time seemed like he could have been. It just didn't work out. Whereas, like, the recent ones, Jose and Nuno never seemed like they could have really worked out. Jose convinced us with, like, his press conferences at the beginning, but, like, before the hiring, you and I were both saying this was a terrible idea.
I know, and then we got fooled by, like, the first 4 games
we got
or whatever.
Press conferences and but
we did. Now, Nuno was never, if you recall, and this was something I said, I said we should blow it up because nobody wanted to hire us. And
You didn't say
Ryan
blow it
Mason.
up. You just said keep Mason for the year.
Well, but I kind of knew it would be throw away the year, not blow it up, but throw away the year essentially.
Yeah.
Have Ryan Mason hold the fort down for a year until we figured out the direction of the club. So essentially, there was an aspect of blowing it up in there. And I think we'd be way better off today than we are now. No doubt about it.
Yeah, because we never would have had to deal with Conte.
So I will tell you, if I had my say in the managerial search, which I don't, and that's okay. I'm not offended by that, by the way. Like some of these Tottenham Hotspur trust people, and like they're offended when like Levy doesn't ask them what fucking color toilet paper they should have in the fucking bathrooms. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't have the right to have a say in every fucking thing associated with this team. You actually don't have the right to say anything. Like, I'm fucking tired of hearing them. But anyhow, like, if it were up to me, I'm not sure I would hire Mason because I'm afraid that the reset wouldn't be as pronounced as if someone like a Nagelsmann, whatever, came in and said, no, like this, you've got to give me the reins. You're giving me, it's a 4-year project. In year 4, we will qualify for the Champions League. But up until then, it's a reset. And you let me, with a director of football that you will hire, that I will have a say in, but not the entire say. We will find new play. We will sell the players we don't want, the old. We'll bring in new, and we will adapt, and we will create a culture here.
The problem is they're not going to Harry Kane, and you can never fully commit to a rebuild without getting rid of your suppliers. And I say supposed because you know my feelings on him. But cannot commit to a rebuild while that guy is still in the room and saying, I'm not going to sign a new contract if we don't qualify for the Champions League. Then fuck off. We have a project we need to complete.
So I would tell you, I think with Kane, I don't actually mind if he stays. But here's my caveat. You take the month of the season's over in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. You take the month of May and like half of June, and you sit in a room with Harry and his dumb brother.
He's so
and
dumb.
You figure, right? And his stupid fucking brother. You get him in a room and you say, very simply, is there a number where you stay?
Ew, no.
Listen to me. Is there a number for you to stay for another 3 to 4 years? What is that number? Now, if he says it's £500,000, like, all right, that's not a number. But is there a number? And you're committing to the fact that you are our talisman, but we're not going to be in Champions League the first couple years
but then
at
what's
least.
The point when you can get like 80 million for it? Let's say.
Because where are you going to
find
at
that point? Well, you bring in some like unknown fucker from like Bolivia. I don't know. That's the whole point of a rebuild.
Season doesn't interest me.
No, but that's the whole point of a rebuild. You suck. You find out, like, you buy 17 bargain strikers. You tell them to duke it out over the course of the season. And then you figure out which one of them is the best. That's the one you play. That's what a rebuild is. You find 17 guys for like £2 million each.
Yeah, £2 million players do not play for Tottenham. 10 million pound players play for Tottenham. First of all, no one's selling you anybody for 2 million. What was the kid? Jack Clark. That kid cost us 11 million pounds.
Yeah, because that's bad scouting. That's big name. Listen, go find the next Deli for 5 million. Go find the next Deli for 5 million.
I don't know. Tottenham is not sorry. All right. Tottenham is not a team where you can buy 2 million pound players, 10 of them, and like throw them out there and say, have at it. This is not the
That is
kind of team
exactly
you
the
got.
kind of team that
No,
is
that's
exactly how we got
Brighton.
good.
No, that is Brighton. And that's not exactly how we got good. Because we still paid big money for certain people. Yeah, fine. Dele Alli was £5 million. Toby was 11 or 12 when players were 11 or 12. Like, that's what you paid for a guy like Toby.
Those were bargains. Jan, bargain. Toby, bargain. Walker, bargain. All of these guys, you got good from buying these bargain players. And 2 million was just a random number I threw out. If it's 7 million, it's 7 million. I don't give a shit. But you have to buy young, unproven players so that they can prove themselves.
So I don't think you understand what Tottenham is today. Like 10
No,
years ago?
I don't think Tottenham understands what Tottenham is today.
No,
I think Tottenham
I don't think you
thinks
understand what
they're
Tottenham
this
is.
huge fucking club, but in actuality, we are posing as a big club right now. To become this big club, we think we need to win shit. And to win shit, you have to get rid of the players who have consistently lost you every past. That includes the players you still think are amazing. That includes Harry Kane. That includes Son. Obviously, that includes Hugo.
Well, I'm actually, look, I'm okay with Sonny going. I'm okay with Dyer going.
I would rather keep Sonny than keep Kane.
Yeah. I think you and I have completely different opinions on how this should go.
This isn't an opinion. Mine is fact, and yours is objectively incorrect.
Okay. I mean, you're okay. I'm not okay with us turning into Everton and being in a relegation battle next
For
year.
3 years, if that's what it takes, as long as
Relegation
we don't go
battles?
down.
So you don't remember when I was in the early 2000s, in the 1990s.
And we wouldn't get relegated. Let's get that clear.
Wait a second. I used to count until we got to 40.
I know. Until we got to 40, I would count. And then when we got to 40, I'd exhale for the first time in 27 match weeks.
You're okay with
that? I
that?
get it. I mean, but we wouldn't be relegation back. We'd be comfortably like 12th. And if comfortably 12th for 3 years is what it takes, then that's what it takes. I'm totally fine with
I know you're fine
sucking.
with it. I don't think anybody else is fine with it. You and your 20-something friends on Twitter, right?
I get I'm in the minority, but that's what it takes.
It can't be that
literally pronounced. NBA tanking is the right way of looking at it.
But there's no relegation in NBA tanking, so there's no
so look at Arsenal.
Penalty.
Arsenal is the blueprint.
They never. Well, that's fine. We'll see.
They sucked for 3 years. They finished 8th a few times, and then they were in a title race this year.
I guess we'll see what happens. And so with that, we come to the conclusion of the show, and we go to your punch of the week.
I probably should have thought of this before we started. I don't have one. Give me the Phillies, who lost straight against the Dodgers by 10 plus, losing with 10 plus runs scored against them for the whole series, and then lost the series against Boston as well in pretty damn bad fashion. The pitching on this team is atrocious.
So my punch of the week, I was thinking of doing it a little bit differently this week. And it would be my punch of the week because I'm jealous of the, 113 former Tottenham players who have since gone on to win a trophy, where Tottenham has not won one since 2008. But that's a weird punch of the week. So my punch of the week goes to somebody we talked about quite a bit during this episode.
No, it's got to be someone new. It's got to be someone new.
No.
From now on, it's someone new. You can do it for this week, but the whole point of the punch of the week.
Don't talk about throughout the whole episode?
Yeah.
No. My punch of the week goes to Al fucking Horford because I fucking hate him.
That's cool. But next week, come with something interesting.
That's cool.
I'm
All right.
so sick.
Next week, I'll tell you my punch of the week is Max Verstappen because I'm fucking tired of seeing the Red Bull win every fucking race. Formula One. There's my punch of the week. Formula One. Because I'm tired of seeing fucking Red Bull finish first and second in every race and winning these races by 30 seconds. It's not fucking interesting. It's boring as fuck. I'm tired
This is
of
more
it.
of what I expected when we started this podcast. This is anger. This is true anger right here for both of us.
Formula One, 115 fucking players who have won something after they left us.
Can't
How
forget
come they couldn't win
referees.
something when they were
Can't
here?
forget referees.
Fuck the referees. And with that, we thank you. Ari, I thank you. No, I thank you. No,
I thank you.
I thank you. I thank you. Nobody can see you. No, thank you. I thank you. Oh, my goodness.